Hello. Hope you're having a nice day. If not, I hope you know it can get better. I am having a walk, obviously, and I started thinking about. I was watching. What inspired this video, if I could give credit, was this woman on TikTok who was 63 years old, and she was talking about the things that she had learned in her 63 years, and it really resonated with me, and it reminded me how for my birthday I did the 28 lessons because I turned 28 this year, and I wanted to do a video to match it, and I didn't do the video. And I was thinking about that, and I was like reveling in my energy. I was like, I appreciate that I'm able to have solace in my negativity, if you want to call it negativity, in my undesirables, in my shadow, however you want to phrase it. The main message of this video is how it is really important for us to befriend our shadow, and instead of demonizing it, instead of demonizing the parts of us that we don't like, once again, becoming friends with it, becoming acquainted with it. I'm in a cemetery right now, so I feel like it's pretty safe to say that I am a pretty good friend with my shadows. And in regards to the 28 lessons thing, I'm probably not going to make a video on that. I feel like, I mean, it's probably not true, but I feel like enough time has passed. I feel like it's not really necessary. And so, if you were somehow waiting for that, if you peeped that and you were waiting for a video, that's probably not coming. I'm sorry. That's just one of my things. I'm not that consistent. Sometimes I say things and then I change my mind, or I don't have the energy to like move it forward, and I am okay with that because I'm consistent in the way that I will continue to show up at some point in time. You know, like I'm consistent in the fact that I'm still posting videos, I'm still making videos. You know, I'm just not on a, well, I've been getting on a consistent schedule, so maybe I should like peep that, maybe I should clock that. I've been getting on a schedule, but like I feel like it's not where I need it to be yet. Maybe that's just me being hard on myself, who knows, I don't know. But yeah, the main message of this is like, instead of beating yourself up and being like, I'm a fucking piece of shit, I'm blah, 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 just like embrace that part of yourself, like appreciate it for what it is, because like everything, as far as I'm aware, has a purpose. Everything has a meaning, everything has a reason if you search for it, if you apply it. You know, I remember a couple weeks ago I was like talking to ChatGPT, and I was talking with them about demons because I was in my demon era. I was talking about demons and like, you know, how to navigate demons, how to like be safe around demons and stuff like that. And they were talking about integration, which I'm already familiar with, but they were talking about integration and how demons, from one perspective, only become demons, negative entities, malicious energies, because they are neglected, because they are shunned, because they are attacked. And so it wouldn't really make much sense for you to fight fire with fire. Like, they became that way because they were ignored. You think they're gonna like, you know, it's like the solution is not more of what made it. The solution is not more of what made the problem the problem. The solution is the opposite of what made it the problem. And that would be recognizing them, acknowledging their pain. 333 on a timer as I say that, you know. And like, obviously you don't have to agree with what I'm saying. You don't have to necessarily like, but if you're watching, if you're still watching, hopefully you're open to the information, and hopefully this is resonating with you in some way. And it's just a reminder that it's not enough to just know information. It's not just enough to like understand things, but you also have to embody it. And that's something I've been trying to do. I'm getting to that place when it comes to certain things in my journey, specifically around like relationships and love and how I show up in relationships and whatnot. I mean, as a Virgo stellium, as a Gemini sun, like you would think that I would have this mastered, but I'm still learning how to flow in relationships and be the best person I can be in relationships and whatnot, and just in general, you know. If I could be candid, I kind of broke ties, and I say that lightly because technically we agreed to keep in touch, but I decided within myself that I do not have the space to continue the relationship in the way that we have been going, because we were talking damn near every day. I've talked about this person before. They have a very special place in my heart, I guess. And I've talked about this person on here before. I've mentioned how much they frustrated me, and like, all that jazz. And I was trying to come from a place of like unconditional love, like just like, even though you frustrate me, even though you do these things and I don't like it, I still have love for you and I still want the best for you. And I wanted to end it on that tone, and because we had almost ended so many times on a very sour note, and I didn't want that. I don't want that. And so I made it a point to like come from a space of love, come from a space of like, I'm saying goodbye, but like I'm doing it because I have love for myself. I want to continue experiencing love, and I don't feel like this is where that's going to be, unfortunately. And I don't know, it was kind of bittersweet. I cried a lot. This happened yesterday. And I cried a lot before I even initiated the separation or whatever. I was crying like all day, and then like when I did it, I was crying so hard, like harder than I have in a while. Like I haven't cried like that in a while, and it kind of surprised me. It kind of annoyed me that I was like so emotional over a relationship, because even though I do have a Virgo stellium, even though I am a Gemini, there's a part of me, part of my shadow, I'm not afraid to admit it, that is very annoyed with the concept of love, that is very very turned off. And maybe that's a coping mechanism for being hurt, whatever. But either way, that's a part of me. I understand it, I embrace it. Like I get really annoyed like at how understanding I am of other people's emotions sometimes, because it's like I understand it, but like, kid you not, like, because why are you, you know what I mean? Like that's sometimes the perspective that I have. But yeah, I really grew to enjoy this person, to appreciate this person. And maybe it's a trauma bond, maybe I was being abused, maybe it was manipulation. Who the fuck cares? I know how I feel about it, and I would hope that what he tells me is true. You know what I mean? I would hope that he's not just trying to like maintain his position in my life. I don't know. I'm not necessarily, that's not really important for me to say. I don't know why I said that. But I mean, I don't know. Just in case he's watching, I don't know. I'm very aware of certain things, and I'm like, I don't know. Anyways, I'm not going to speak for everybody and say that this is like a definitive truth, but one thing I've grown to understand is that like sometimes the right thing to do is the most painful thing to do, like, and I think that's a lot of the reason why sometimes people don't do the right thing, quote unquote, because it is so painful. Like advocating for yourself, advocating for other people, like speaking truth to power, like these things are uncomfortable, these things are painful, my dude. I get it, but like we can't lie to ourselves and convince ourselves that we're doing the right thing when we know we're not. I was talking about this on live stream yesterday. Like I feel like too many of us do this thing where we lie to ourselves, we gaslight ourselves into thinking that we don't know the answer, and it's like and maybe not everyone is as tapped in as I am, because I take extra time to tap in, to meditate, to get into that energy, me personally. But I want to give the benefit of the doubt and believe that everybody has the ability, hears the voices, just maybe can't translate them as well. You know what I mean? And I say this because yesterday? Yeah, I was taking a walk, and I was like, in my head, I was thinking about something, and I don't remember what happened, but like there was like a thought that I had about love, and then a butterfly like flew across my face, and it directed me, like when I looked at where the butterfly was going, it directed me to this person who was low-key kind of attractive. Like I was kind of far away, so maybe that's a weird judgment, but I was attractive. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna explain that, because attractive does not just mean cute or like handsome or beautiful. It just means that you are compelled, that you are being pulled to, that you're being attracted. Like when you say a magnet is attractive, you're not saying that it's cute or like handsome, you're just saying that it is pulling. You know what I mean? So sometimes I say the word attract or attracted or attractive, I'm sorry, in that context, and I don't know, that's like the first time I've explained that. That's my thought process behind when I use the word attractive. It doesn't always mean in a sexual context, or like, it's just like literally my soul is being pulled to you. And it was in that moment where I really thought about that really, really deeply for a second. And let me not say it like that. Maybe that's an exaggeration. Later on, I thought about it, and that's when I was talking about it on live stream. Like, because I could have easily convinced myself, there's a butterfly again, I could have easily convinced myself that I did not understand the message that was being presented to me. But I'm just so against dishonesty, I'm so against that. Like, I just don't understand why people lie to themselves, you know what I mean? I understand, but I don't vibe with it. And, like, I think the thing where people say, I don't know, or I don't know what to do, is more so fear of what they know that they need to do. And instead of just being like, no, I'm too afraid to do that thing, they convince themselves and they convince other people that they just don't know what to do, you know? And, like, I don't vibe with that. I don't think you should ever do that. And if you're doing that, you should stop doing that. Like, really tune in with yourself and be honest with yourself about what messages you might be disrespecting. Because I find it disrespectful. Like, the idea that an all-knowing energy is like giving you advice, giving you answers, and you're just going to pretend like you don't understand because you're too afraid to, like, follow the advice. I think that's crazy. Like, one thing that I've made it a habit to do when I get messages that are like, that I'm not, my nervous system isn't ready for, I will, like, speak directly to it. I'll be like, thank you for the message, I appreciate it, but I'm not going to take that right now, thank you. And the reason why I do that is because excuse me, there's like a plane or whatever, is because I enjoy getting messages. I enjoy being guided. Even if I'm not going to take the step, I enjoy the communication, the relationship that I have with the universe, with the divine, whatever you want to call it, higher power, source, whatever you want to call it. I enjoy that. So I don't want to neglect that by, like, because I feel like a lot of people do that in person relationships too, that I've noticed. Like, if they're not ready to hear something, if they're not in a space to receive information from somebody, instead of just admitting that, they'll double down and they'll, like, in a way, abuse that person. They'll, like, gaslight them or make them feel like their message or their idea is, like, stupid. And, like, when you're doing that to a person, I think that's a lot different than, like, when you're talking to, like, the all-seeing. I think those are two different things, but either way, the disrespect is still there. Because it's like, and I think, well, no, I was going to say maybe it'd be even more because they can see through it and you're still choosing to lie. But, no, I would say it's more disrespectful when you do it to a person with limited capability, because then it's like, we have the ability to see through it, but they might not be at that place. And you're lying to them just because you're afraid of doing the thing that you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many people who do that. Like, instead of just, like, reconciling with what they know in their heart of hearts to be the truth, they'll just gloss over it and, like, choose something else as the temporary truth. You know? Like, for example, I was talking to a mutual on TikTok. God bless her. She's interesting. She was talking to me. She was basically telling me about how she got this reading from somebody, and she was very confused. And I gave her solutions. I gave her potential, like, resolutions from my perspective, because obviously I'm not her. So, what the heck? I did not know that I had my phone just going in my pocket. I heard the sounds, but I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just notifications. But yeah, no, she was confused, and I was trying to give her solutions. I was trying to give her resolutions and whatnot. And from my perspective, it just kind of felt like we were just going in circles. Because I feel like the solutions that I gave were, like, solid. And she was just like, well, maybe it's not that. And, like, that's fine. I'm not one of those people that's like, if you don't listen to my advice, fuck you. Because that's so immature. Like, because if you're giving advice to be listened to because you want to feel important, you're not giving sound advice. You know, if you're only, but you know what I mean? Like, and that's coming from a person who, like, actively, like, devotes time to service, who, like, takes the time to, like, you know, when I make these videos, that's an act of service. I'm trying to turn something into something for you. You know what I mean? I don't do that because I want to be heard. I want to be listened to. I appreciate when people engage with my videos. I can't lie about that. Like, the ego part of me enjoys that. But that's not important. That's not necessary. You know, like, it helps. It's positive feedback. It's positive reinforcement. But I don't need that, you know? And some people are only giving advice or only doing that to, like, feed their ego. And we could argue that that's not inherently wrong because you're still helping people, but I feel like it dilutes the spirit when you're operating out of your ego. Whether or not you're helping people, I feel like it's a delusion. It's a little bit of, well, those are two different things. Delusion and diluting. Diluting as in watering down. It waters down the spirit because you're not doing it from a place of like, you're doing it because you want to be validated, you want to be accepted, you want to be liked, and all that jazz. You want to be recognized, which is not bad. Obviously, everybody deserves to be seen, everybody deserves to be loved, blah, 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 blah. But that's something to check yourself on if that resonates at all. Because I feel like that's a pretty common thing for a lot of humans. Like the whole, if you don't listen to the advice I give you, fuck you. And it's like, I get it because you came to me for advice, so like, there's some sort of respect that is expected. It's like, you came to me, so you should listen to what I say. But like, at the end of the day, that's not how our spirit guides work. That's not how they work in the spirit. Like, when they give us advice, when they give us insight, sure, they might be disappointed that we don't follow it, but they're not gonna be like, fuck you, you're fucking stupid because you don't listen to me. Like, no, because that takes away free will. That takes away the idea that we are sovereign beings. And when I do readings, I'm always thinking about that. I'm thinking about giving you options. I'm not telling you what you need to do or what you should do. I'm just giving you the energy and what I see, what I feel, and what you could do to make it better. And if you don't like that, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, because some people just like to be told what to do, and that's fine. But that takes away your own responsibility. That takes away your own sovereignty, And I'm not about that, so, Maybe I could take back the thing about consistency, because I feel like for most of the time that I've been like making content, that's been like a joke that I make with myself, that I'm inconsistent. But I feel like I'm getting really consistent lately. Like for the last week, I've been posting every day at the same time. This video will probably be up at the same time as the other videos. So I don't know, pat myself on the back for that, I guess. I don't know. Also, if I could go back to what I was talking about with the guy that I broke up with, one thing, regardless of his intentions, regardless of whether or not he was provoking me, I'm not saying that he was, but because it is in the back of my mind, there's that thought of like, I feel like there was something within him that was provoking me when these moments happened. But there were moments where I would get really angry, really frustrated with him, and I would say things that I meant in the moment. Like if you resonate with me, you understand what I'm saying. Like, you mean it in the moment, but after the fact, you're like, why the fuck would I say that? That is a really disgusting thing for me to say. Even if you meant it, it's like, that's not something you say to somebody that you care about, And I apologize. That was one of the things that I ended it with. I was like, I'm sorry for what I said to you. Like, even though I meant it, I'm sorry, because I don't think you deserve that. And maybe he did. I don't know. But like, from my perspective, giving the benefit of the doubt, I don't believe that he deserved that. And like, I don't know, it really made me super emotional. It felt cathartic, it felt healthy, it felt good to cry as much as I was crying yesterday. And I cried today too. I don't know, I imagine this week is going to be really heavy for me, and maybe if you resonate with me, this week will be heavy for you too. Assuming that you're watching real time when I post, but I don't know. Generally, these are timeless. I make these to be watched whenever it resonates for you. So whenever you see this, you're probably having a really emotional time. And as a co-creator, it is really important that we use these moments productively. Like, at some point when we were talking, I told him how much I was crying and whatever. And then he was like, well, I'm sorry to hold you up. Go get to work. And I was like, well, this is work. Emotions are work. I even used it for some of my manuscripts. Side note, like I did channel some of that energy when I was crying. I was like, let me write a little bit. Let me channel this into my works that talk about emotions and stuff. Because some of my manuscripts, some of my works do talk about emotion and love and all that jazz. So I did channel that into that. And that's what I mean by productive. Like, you don't have to necessarily, like, I do want to believe that everybody is here for a reason and we're all here to serve the greater good. Some of us just forget about that. But I say that to say, you don't necessarily have to believe in that. But I do think that the best way to enlightenment, the best way to overall fulfillment is like not just thinking of ourselves, not just thinking of our own pleasures, you know, also thinking about other people and how we can help other people. And once again, that's what I do with these videos. When I make these videos, subconsciously at this point, it's a subconscious thing really at this point. It's to help other people. Like, sure, it's also for me. It helps me to get out my feelings sometimes. I don't always think about it that way, but in a way that it's, especially on YouTube, because I mean, I've been getting more views, but it's definitely not the same as TikTok. Like on TikTok, I'm very, like, I post a video and it's very likely at least 100 people will see, which in the grand scheme of it isn't that much, but it's not about numbers, it's not about metrics, it's just about impact. It's about putting the message out there, you know? And that might be a message for somebody, that might be a reminder. Like, it's not about the metrics. You can focus on them if you want to, but it's not about that. It's about impact. It's about, like, genuinely connecting and, like, making a difference. You know, it's not about having the flashy numbers and stuff like that. That's not what it's about. And if that is what your goal is, don't have a meltdown, but just reconsider a little bit. Just, like, have a soft landing and reconsider the direction that you're going. Because I've heard so many people who have gone that route, who've been super successful, and they talk about it in hindsight, and they're like, yeah, no, I wish I didn't chase those numbers. I really wish I didn't care as much about this stuff. Like, and you'll find a lot of people find a lot more happiness, a lot more fulfillment when they step away from paying attention to the numbers, when they step away from the spotlight, when they step away from that ego shit, you know, because that's what it is. It's the ego. The ego likes to feel safe. They like to feel in charge. They like to feel like top dog, you know? And there's nothing inherently wrong with that, but the difference between ego and spirit is that spirit is just is all-knowing, all-loving, and like all-flowing. Like, it doesn't care about your fucking structures or your routines. It just is, you know? And so if this video resonated with you, I definitely would encourage you, for my ego, to subscribe, to engage with the video. Let me know what you feel, what you thought about this. And try to have a nice rest of your day. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay hydrated, please. Okay? All right, bye.